All right, going to make the second part of this lab exercise. I think lab A, that video I left off with making that pivot table. And I think I'm actually going to pick back up with that pivot table. Just kind of go through how we're going to make that again. So we're going to select our date. And we're going to go all the way down and select all the data within our table. All right. Next, we're going to click Insert. Insert up here on the ribbon. If you don't see that, this little button right here gives you, you can auto hide that. Show tabs and commands. So we're going to insert. We're going to select pivot table. It's going to select pivot table. It's going to ask us the table and the range. And it's going to ask us where we want to make that pivot table. So again, I like making my pivot table on that same worksheet because then I can just quickly move over to the data that I'm looking for. So we're going to click location. I like to do one column over and one cell under or below. That is going to be, oh, wait a minute, that's why. Let's scroll back up to the top and let's put that in AZ2. Now the AZ might be different for you, but whatever column it is, one column over and one cell below. So in the second row of whatever column it is over from the table. We'll click OK. And that is going to give us options to choose from for this pivot table. So we want the date. We want precipitation, S-min, S-max, S-mean, T-max, T-min, T-mean. All right. So if we come down here, not sure how I can scroll that out. That's not it. Anyhow, down here in our values box, we want the sum of the precipitation. We want that value. So we are going to select value field settings, select sum, and remember that we can't have the same column heading in our pivot table that we have in our data table. So we're going to say rain. You can label this however you want. I prefer to just keep it as rain. And that gives us the rainfall totals for each month and then the grand total for the whole growing season. Now, what we're looking for the minimum is we're trying to summarize what the minimum temperature was, the average minimum temperature in May. So we will come down here and look for sum of soil min, select value field settings. And again, we want the average of the soil minimum temperatures. So we're going to change this table head column heading to soil underscore min. But okay. We're going to do the same thing for the rest of our values. Average of the maximum temperatures underscore max. You see that we've now changed the table heading, the column heading. Now we want the average of the soil mean temperatures. So basically the average soil mean. I'm going to do this for T-max. Do this again for key min. Okay. All right, now that we have all of the rainfall totals and we have the average of the rest of our variables, I want to select this whole range right here. We're going to select the whole range of the table. We're going to go back to home. And then under number, we want to reduce the number of decimals to 2 places. Come on. I know why. All right, so you may have to select just the numbers in that range. Excuse me. May have to select just the numbers in that range. There we go. Increase that to 2. I tend to like everything kind of centered. And so now we have the pivot table that gives us the summary data of what we're looking for. So I'm going to zoom this out just a minute. All right. All right. Remember that I said that we can change the order of the values within our table. Like we have this min, max, and mean out of order. We're just going to drag that and put that between min and mean. And notice that it changed the value, changed the order of our table headings. All right, so that's what you need to do in order to complete the part where I asked for the mean or the average. Remember, the mean is the same thing as average. The mean soil and air temperature. Actually, in the lab exercise, I asked for the average of the soil min, max, and mean, and the temperature min, max, and mean. So these are the values that you would place in those columns. So I'm asking you for the grand total, the overall soil minimum, soil maximum, and the average soil temperature for the whole growing season. And these are the values, the total rainfall accumulation by month. And then this is the total rainfall accumulation over the growing season. All right, so I think everyone's good there. Next, I want to move into how we are going to make the graphs for our, how we're going to select the data for our graphs. So we're going to go from date over to t-mean. We'll scroll that all the way down because that is now going to be our new data range. Let's scroll back up. I think this is the reason why why their tables were at the bottom. Because when we got to the bottom here, we went up and started doing what we needed to do in our table was way down here. So to save yourself some headache, you can either hit page up. Oh, maybe page up is not the way to do that. Select t-mean all the way down. I'm just going to scroll back up. And let's go ahead and put this right below our pivot table. So you can select whichever row you need. We're going to come to insert. Next, we're going to come over here to charts. This gives us a plethora of charts that we can choose from. So insert charts, and we want to make a line graph. So we're going to make a line graph. Or not. Maybe we don't select that cell. Insert line graph. There we go. There we go. Now we're good. Now we're just going to drag this down over here. So we've selected our data table. We clicked insert. We inserted a line graph. And it gave us all of these numbers. And I have growing degree day 50 in there that I do not want. All right, so for the actual assignment, I ask you to change to format the table. Format the graph. Over here, we have the height and the width. We're going to make this 4. We want to make the width 6. And I think I'm going to go back in and zoom back in so that we can see all the functions and everything that I'm doing. Because I'm about to show you how to format the graphs as well. All right. So zoom this out just a little bit. And my table in chart design. So let me back up. In format, this is where you can change the colors and the lines and how you want to align it. There's some other things in there that we can do. But for the most part, we want to get into chart design. And again, if you don't see this, you may have to click your ribbon display button. We're going to go back here to chart design, and we are going to select the data. So for this particular graph, we are going to make air temperature. So we're going to uncheck evaporation. And make sure, for mine, I accidentally selected growing degree day 50, but you can turn off whichever one you would like. Also, while we're here, I want to show you that you can also move these up and down. And for temperature, let's go ahead and do min, mean, and max. We'll select OK. And now we see that our chart shows only the min, the mean, and the max. Give me just a second, I'm coming. Zoom that out just a little bit. Okay, next, we're going to select the chart. We're going to click chart elements. Let's go ahead and do something with our legend real quick. So we have legend check, which tells us that we have one. We're going to click on that arrow. And so now we can place the legend at the right. We can place it at the left. At the bottom, which is where it came from. I prefer to put it at the top. It kind of gets it out of the way. It allows me to have a larger area of graph to at least see. And also because we're about to add axis titles, we need that bottom area for the x-axis title. So next we're going to select axis titles. See that gives us a y-axis title and an x-axis title. X-axis title is going to be date. Y-axis title is going to be temperature. I guess we should say this is air temperature. And what we want to do is we want to insert the degree symbol. Insert. And then if you look all the way over here on the right, we have symbols. I'm going to insert a symbol. You will likely have to search for that. And it is probably somewhere around where the copyright symbol is or the registered trademark. So degree, insert, select a degree, click insert once to insert that, and then close. Next, this is in Fahrenheit. So we know that our air temperature is in Fahrenheit, our date, our chart title, let's make this 2021 air temperature. I think in class I named this Crossville, Tennessee 2021 air temperature. All right, so something that we haven't done yet is actually formatted our chart, like the actual like Times New Roman and the size. And the reason why we haven't done that is because once you format, like if you were to go format the x-axis and the y-axis and the title and the legend, when you changed it all to Times New Roman, it would reset it all to a smaller font. So we want to select our chart. We're going to click home. And if you have the whole chart selected, you can change all the font at one time. You do not need to select each individual item. If you select the whole chart, you can change the whole font to Times New Roman. All right. Now we're going to click on our y-axis, highlight, and we want to change this to 14 point. So I selected that, I highlighted. We already had Times New Roman, change that to 14 point. Next, we're going to select on the x-axis. I'm going to change that to 14 point as well. The chart title, we're going to change that to 16 point. So all I've done here is change my y-axis, my x-axis to 14 point, the chart title to 16 point, and I'm going to change my legend to 10 point. And if I'm not mistaken, might have had the access at 10 as well. All right, everyone seeing what I got going on here? See if I can't increase this a little bit because I have to get into a few things. So we're going to be working right over here on the left side, on the right side of our screen. We're going to select, let's do the y-axis first. Right click, select y-axis, right click, and click format axis. So on this right side of your screen, you have the option to change a lot of the things and make this, you add lines, and you can add tick marks and things like that. So the first thing that we want to do is click the little paint bucket, and this is going to give us a line. We're going to select line. So I click the paint bucket, have line, click solid line, and let's make the line black. paint bucket, line, solid line, and then change the color of the line to black. There are plenty of other options down here that you can mess around with. I tend not to mess with those. The only thing that I might mess with is the width of the line. That might be for a more advanced Excel class. I don't really play with the fill too much. In fact, I never play with the fill, so that doesn't matter. We're not going to play with the effects. I don't think we need to mess with the size and the properties. That's okay. But here's where we actually get to impact the numbers and the tick marks and the distance in between the numbers. We want to make sure that our temperature is for 100 degrees. Our major units are going to be in degrees of 10, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. But right here, we can select our minor tick marks to be 5. 5.0, enter. Nothing really showed up there. Notice that nothing happened over here. So, we change our minor to 5. But when we get down here, keep scrolling down, we're going to open up this tick mark drop down. So our axis options allow us to give us the big numbers. We're going to scroll to the bottom. We're going to open up our tick marks. Major type. So this is going to give us tick marks on the inside for our 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 degree. Our minor type, we're going to click inside as well. And that's going to give us the tick marks for 95. This would be 75, 35. All right. I don't really think we need to do anything else in there. There's nothing really much going on for labels and numbers, at least not for this particular exercise. While we're here, we have, oh, I know what I wanted to do. So how about let's click on the entire chart, something we forgot to do. Click on the entire chart up in this little blank area somewhere. And we want to change all the font color to dark black. Noticed how once I did that, everything reset. So my air temperature, I need to go back in and change that font size. This is going to be 14-point font. We want this to be 10-point font. This is back to 14. This is what it was originally. We want this to be 16. We'll make that 10. That's now going to be 10. Scroll this down a little bit. Select our date. And that's going to be 14. Better. All right. Now we're back to oh, messed it up. Undo. All right. So now that we have everything darkened there, what we want to do is we want to work on the x-axis. So we're going to click, right click, format axis. Don't need any tick marks. What we do need is the line. So we're going to click on the paint bucket, select line, solid line, black. Everyone see how I got that. Clicked on axis options, format for the paint bucket, opened up the line drop-down box, solid line, and then color for black. All right, so now we got our chart looking fairly good. Notice how thick these lines are. So I can click on that line and we want to decrease the line width. Let's make it 1.5. And you can change the color if you'd like. So let's change this to red. Next, we're going to click on the brown line. Let's go ahead and change that color to orange because that's our mean. Change the point size to 1.5. Next, let's click on the min. Change that color to light blue. Maybe not. How about that? You can change it to whatever color you want. I'm not really going to get too bent out of shape about the colors that you pick. Just remember that someone else is going to be reading this graph and that you would want to make pictures. You would want to pick colors that aren't too gaudy. Like bright pink is not a good color to be putting on a graph that you're going to present professionally. All right, so now we can see this just a little bit better. We have a little bit more distinction and our lines aren't kind of bleeding over to each other. So this looks like a really good graph. I'm going to X out of this and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so we can see what that looks like. All right, so that's how we make our air temperature. And if you recall in class, I said what you can do is you can copy. I'm going to select the chart, right click, copy, and then paste. Come on. Nope. Click it again. Copy. And then use destination theme. So that's going to keep all of our formatting there. All right. So now that we have that, what we're going to do is we're now going to make the graph for the precipitation. This does not represent precipitation. So we're going to come up here to chart design. Let's select the data. So chart design, select data. We're going to select precipitation and we are going to deselect temperature, min, max, and mean. Okay. And so that kind of gives us a consistent line graph, but this isn't really what we want to show. So what we're going to do is we're going to change chart type and we want to select a column graph. Show you that again. So select the chart, change chart type, and make that column. Next, we're going to change our rainfall. This is going to be in inches. All right, so rainfall inches. Oh, not inches. Precipitation. We really don't need our chart title, so we can, our legend, we know it's just rainfall, so we can go ahead and delete that. Everything else is pretty much formatted the way that we want it to, because we copied and pasted the formatting from the chart above. So if you get everything for one chart copied and, get your one chart formatted the way that you need it, you can copy and paste. And then all you're left with is having to change the data that you are looking to make the chart. All right. So we're going to click on this axis because we need to change some things along this axis. We want to click the axis. Oh. Right click, format axis. Okay, so this scale is from 0 to 5 inches. It does not look like we're going to reach 5 inches. So let's make the maximum 3 inches. And we'll make every main line. Make that 0. Brings it back up to, let's make this 3.25. Our major axis is going, our major grid lines are going to be 1. And let's make our minor 0.25. So every 1/4 of an inch, it will show a difference. Next, we're going to do our tick marks, which are already there. Both of those are inside because they came from the formatting of the graph that we previously had. And I think what we want to do is we want to change the color of our lines. We'll make this a solid line. Go back and undo that. See if we can't get that as a solid line. Not worried about what the feed is, dude. Okay. All right, so here's what we have where we have this line that is actually the border. We need to click this. Oh, click on the series. And we'll make the fill solid fill and black. Looks like this is going to be border or no line, it doesn't really matter. Kind of thins that down a little bit. All right, not going to get too picky on that right now. So what this shows is the daily precipitation, so that on this date that we received almost we received 2.22 inches. And so what we can do is we'll overlay this over our temperature and our growing degree days, and we will know that we've got to growing degree day, and our VT was somewhere around July 18th, if I'm not mistaken, for this particular exercise. And we know that we're getting rainfall through there, so we can expect that we're going to have a full seed fill during this time. So everything is formatted. We've created the T-mean, the temperature, and the precipitation. So these are the two graphs that I ask you to create for the assignment 1. All right, so what we're going to have is a problem. I'm going to open up a Word document. Open up a Word document. And you'll notice that I have, how about I just open up the actual exercise? So you'll notice here that I give you what I want you to, how I want you to format each of these different components. And so for this min, maximum, and mean air temperature, let's get back over to our Excel file. You're going to right click. Oh, come on. Right click, copy. There's our word. And you are going to paste this as a picture. Of course, yours will look different than this, but once it's a picture, you can then change the size of the picture and you do not lose the formatting. I'm going to lock this. So if you ever want to keep everything locked so that it changes equally, oh, let me show you where that's at, sorry. This lock aspect ratio will make the height and the width change equally with each other. So we're going to delete the size of this. I'm not too concerned with the size. I'm just happy that what I'm looking for is that you get the label, you got your legend, and that you have the graph properly labeled and formatted. All right. Now I'm going to show you what happens if you don't save that as a picture. I'm going to come back over to my Excel file for our precipitation, right click, copy. And I'm going to insert this and I'm going to use destination. And I just insert. So if you embed that as the workbook and then you start to change, oh, see how all your formatting changes? So when you go to shrink that down, everything will change. This is a pain in the neck because then you have to come back in and reformat everything. So inside your Excel file, like you're going to turn both the Excel and the Word document in. Inside the Excel file, make sure that everything is, I want to be able to see all of the formatting that you did. So this should be the original format. You want to right click and copy. I'm going to delete this because it's a mess. Undo. So I have right clicked and copied. Hopefully it's still there. I'm going to right click. It is not. Oh, and we're going to paste that as a picture. Once I paste it as a picture, my formatting stays roughly the same. Like it doesn't move. It just, the formatting changes with the size of the picture. So if you have it formatted properly in Excel and you put it into Word and you shrink it down so that you can fit it into a table, I can see that. I tend to like to use this table option for inserting a picture or anything into a Word document because Word is funky. And if you were to paste that as a picture and you tried to type or do something with that, like where would you put the caption? And so you have this wrap text box. This thing's a pain in the neck. If I want to move a table, if I want to delete one, or move a picture or a chart, I prefer to make a table so that I can insert my picture and then I can also add my figure title. Once that, we'll get this kind of scrunched down. We will center. Oh, nope. Let's undo that. Select the whole table and let's center that. So once I get my graph, I can put it in there as a picture, and then I can change the size of the table to match the graph. Do the same thing here. Shrink that down, get pretty close. change this around to mean. That's kind of how I have it in the. Legend, again, we can work on doing that part later. Mostly this exercise is about you creating the graph, formatting it properly, and inserting it into this table. So I gave you most of the table headings, most of the figure titles. Like, you don't have to do any of this. We'll learn how to do all that in a different exercise. All right, so I hope that gave everyone at least a decent idea of what they're supposed to do for assignment 1. I do expect to get questions. I actually want you to ask me questions. Sometimes it takes a lot getting inside here, and it's really just playing around. So come by and see me, and we'll try and work on figuring this out. All right. Thank you so much for your patience with this. Like, I'm new at this part, and I know it's new for y'all. So let's just work together and try and get this thing figured out so that everyone can be successful. All right. Y'all have a good day or night, because it's night. All right. I'm out. Bye.